Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Diane Dobson Barton and I am so glad you're here. I want to do this in oils on a larger canvas, but before I jumped into the larger one, I want to work through some of the color choices that I have and what will work best for what I'm aiming to achieve. So let's go ahead and get started. What I want to do here is I've got a painting on a canvas over here that I started, and I want to do a color study in oil pastel before I jump in and start using oil paints on it. If you see the colors that he used, this is a Birger Sandzen again. This is the one that is at the library that I used to work at. And there's a really close, you can see the brush strokes in there. There's another detail of it that's, I'm going to do a color study of this and just play with it a little bit using Sandzen-ish colors. And I'm going to do it in my sketchbook here. So I will take you along for the ride. I've got my Mungio pastels. I've got my Haya pastels, and those are my favorite ones right now. And then I've got some Paul Rubens white over here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on this. I've already got this page in here marked off and gessoed. I need something to cover this page to help. See, and if you saw me do this the other day, I'm just not happy. But there was no gesso on that one. I think my intention was to do acrylic paint on this knowing it was gesso. But at the moment I'm really curious about the oil pastels. I'm going to do an acrylic underpainting on here. I think what I really need is this blue. I'm just trying to get the reference photo so I can see it really well. So this goes up this way, and then there's a big bush, tree, greenery right there. That little cliff, I think this needs to go up higher. It's right there. Blocking in some shadows. I did it like a monochromatic on the canvas, and I don't know that I'm convinced it's going to work well. And I'm just going to do this really loose. This is just to block things in to use over or under the oil pastels. It doesn't have to be real detailed and exact right now. This is just more for making sure I have my placement, my composition the way I want it. And I don't know about this. This composition, there's a tree right here. There's a tree, and I know I don't have to leave it like this. I don't have to do it the way the reference photo shows, or even how it is in nature. I think I need a bigger brush for one thing. It's a little bigger. I've just got a couple of water containers over here. I moved my reference photo to over here. Now I know this was gessoed too. I mean, you can even see the evidence of it. At the same time, it's really sucking up the paint. in here, there's a whole lot of like light shining through branches. I really like that part. So I want to try and keep that. Can you hear the train? It's coming down the bend. I hear the train. And there's that really deep shadow. And I don't want to make this too bumpy or too textured. And I think I am. I'm making it too. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry, or I'll use a hair dryer on it, and I will go over it with my oil pastels. I really do find I'm liking this container with all the little paint buckets in it instead of having to squirt out paint, get it out. Prep my palette. Yeah, it's just, my colors are right there. There's like a moss or something growing on this right here. I want to capture. I want to start sticking with a system or a method and stop skipping around between mediums, doing oil pastels one day, acrylic the next, and find a way to use them together or just stick with one. I have a lot of art materials. I have a storage room that I put things in. It has a lot of oil paints and things in there, and I have materials I need to use, but I need to, you know, and it's good for me, I think, too, but then it's almost like relearning them all each time, like learning an instrument and then switching your instrument in the middle of it. You know, you're still doing music, but each one performs a little different. This is the first time, too, I've used the acrylic as like an underpainting for the oil pastels. So I'm really curious at how well it works or doesn't work. I was talking to husband about it last night, and he's not an artist, but he's somebody I can just bounce ideas off of. But his first question was about having an oil medium underneath, sealed. You know, if it was just going to make it, if like fat over lean in an oil painting, you're going to have that fat underneath there. You know, is it ever going to cure? Is it just going to cause cracks and peeling? I think if I can get by just with fixative, that would be great. And Sennelier has I learned how to pronounce it. There you go. They have a fixative that is just for oil pastels. But in the spirit of trying to use what I have first, because again, I have art supplies I need to use up before I go and buy more. I think I'm gonna like this squishiness up here when I get into the oil pastels. I made this bush a lot bigger, or this little tree sapling that's growing out of the rocks. I made it a lot bigger than I probably need to. And I think I've got my hairdryer plugged in. Maybe not. If not, it won't be a big deal. I don't want to get a lot of detail in here. And I think I've got this area kind of blocked in enough, but there's things over here. I'm limited on plugins in this room. Like I've said before, it's an old house, and I'm limited in certain aspects. Ceiling space, I can't have my easel up real high. I've figured out a way to get it so it kind of taps my ceiling. And then that's as high as I'll go. I can still do large pieces, but I don't know. I think the small space is keeping me working small, if that makes sense. When I had an open space, or whenever I've had an open space, I tend to be a lot freer with size, and which I think anybody would be. But I try to, when I do have to work smaller like this, I try to just keep my tools in the same, small canvas, smaller tools, and still try and keep it loose as I can. I do think this is a lot looser than the study I've got over there. I am going to let that set and dry, and then I will start in with the, oh, sorry, I hope my gloves didn't make a weird noise, annoying noise. And then I'll start in with the oil pastel on top of it. I went ahead and used a hairdryer on this, and I was concerned that maybe the paper was going to be too warm to use oil pastels on, but it dried, or it cooled pretty quickly. I went through also on this, and I think this would be a good one to use for color reference on things. It's got the cliffs and greenery, and then I've got several other ones bookmarked that I've, like that's similar as far as, I didn't even, yeah, that's probably more to what I'm doing. So between the two of those, but I'm just going to have this setting to the side so I can just look at it when I need to. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it, but if you go to buy paper towels for your studio, these are what you need. They're just shop towels. They're not very expensive, and they're nice and durable. Okay. It's like a sandy color in here. Let's see how well it's going to cover up that. That's interesting. And what I meant by that's interesting is how well it's covering up the acrylic, but yet it gives you some guide so that you're painting and not having to redraw it. I don't know which would be easier, to put these little spaces in here where the light's shining through, or draw it over. But I'll probably do both. You can see a corner of the rock right there. I think this gray is too flat though, that I just used. I need more of a violet. But I don't regret using that gray, because it's going to give that violet or that lavender something to play off of. Kind of like you can't have dark without light. And this is going to be more like a color study. It may not be a finished piece. I already can tell I'm going to like playing with this little area right here. I'm wondering about it being in the center, if that's not a good thing. Because, you know, having this focus right there. I equate it to a $1 bill in the US. George is right in the center. And then it's got the, ooh, that's soft. I wonder if that's, now I did just think of something too. The Sennelier they suggest a shelf life of 2 years, I believe it is. So I wonder about the other ones that are really soft, like the Haya, if it's something that, again, we need to use up before. Oh, it's just so creamy. This is a Haya pastel. See how it just glides right over that. Just so pretty. Instead of using white, I should be using like it's like butter. Like butter, I say, like butter. Oh, it's so amazing. Just the feel of this, just. And this is why I like to use oil pastels. Just a creaminess to it that just cannot be beat. Again, this is the Haya pastel. I'm using both it and the Munchio. I can already feel that this is helping me with my color choices on things. I'm not wanting to play it so safe. I'm just gonna go ahead and lay in this whole base color. It's a little streaky. I'm trying to see what color this is. Again, I have, like I've said in the video where I reviewed these, I have trouble seeing the names on here and the information. It does give light fastness information, but I can't really see it on these labels very well. And I don't think it's necessarily my old eyes. I think it's just there's not much contrast. Some of this greenery, I'm just kind of winging it. And I should take out that white and replace it with something that's maybe like a light blue. And I want these colors to get muddled. I want them to get mixed together and have variations in them, just like that right there. I don't want them to be like straight off the stick. That's the fun in that. This one doesn't have as much greenery, and it's really dark, and mine is not. So I need to look at some of my, there we go. I can also use my sharp tool, my pointy tool, here in a little bit too, this one, and get more detail if I choose. I don't want to start getting where things are precious. I want to keep it loose. Keep it loose goose. I need to do some of the cloud, some of the sky. See, I like it when it gets like that, where it's just all the colors are kind of mingling together. It's like a dinner party. They're all just kind of mingling. I think the acrylic underpainting is going to work for me. It does seem to help me with the direction. That's just too soft. I wish I had a white that was not so soft. And that lavender helps this pop too. Looks more like a hamburger though, right there, than it does the edge of a cliff. Or maybe I'm just hungry. And remember, this is going to look a lot worse before it gets better. Just trust the process. And sometimes trusting the process means killing your darlings. Like, I really liked what I had right here, but it wasn't working overall, so it had to go. Had to go. I'm not going to put this on here as thick as I did the last one where I did a Sandzen. I'm just going after the colors and not the texture. I think this is too bright. I need to tone down the blue color. I find I use this sharp tool quite a bit to help me get details of any sort. So if you haven't tried using something, even just like a wooden skewer or edge of a screwdriver if you don't have anything else, because it's much more like using a pencil to me. Maybe if I put, because this just stands out too much. Let's see, with this sharp tool, I can go in here and define that grassy area a little bit. This is, I can feel, you know how things just kind of click sometimes? I can feel that this is helping me with my color choices for the painting and oils. Problem I'm having is there's an evergreen right in here that comes to the front, and this part is not going back enough. I'm taking a Paul Rubens white and just taking the label off of it so that I have this end where it's sharper. I think that's helping. This kind of army green has definitely helped push this back. It's like a dark army green-ish brown. It helps give a little more contrast in values. And because I had the light color laid down first, sorry, I'm looking for my sharp tool. In here, I can go in and scrape out white branches that are on that. Now what can I do on this purple? Let's put some purple. Give this a little darker value. I think it would be useful to put this up as the whole thing. I know if you're watching this, you already know what I'm doing as far as upload, but I'm just thinking aloud, sorry. I guess that's one way to bring it to the front, huh? kind of interesting. Some of those marks. I might leave those in there and not go over. I was intending to go over it with color. As far as like the evergreen there, but I think I'm just going to leave it like that. That's kind of interesting, the colors that came out. I'll do the same back here. It really helps to look in my viewfinder on my camera every once in a while. It gives me a different viewpoint. And I also have a mirror here somewhere that I use to help me see it in new ways. Interesting is a good thing. I remember in college we were doing some plein air painting. Well, I wasn't in college. It was just with some friends. But one of them was a college professor. And he made the comment, "Oh, that's interesting." And my comment was, "Well, is that a good thing or a bad thing?" It's a good thing. And this is a good reason to have a rag in your hand. You can just clean those off a little bit if there's a lot on there that you don't want. I know I said I was going to leave that texture, but I think I want both. I want my cake either too. It looks like there's rocks back here that I need to bring out a little. Now there is a shoreline on the other side. I don't know if I'm going to bring that out or not. I don't think I will. I'm going to wind up getting art materials on this book. I know I am. It's a book I'm using, so, you know, as much as I love it. Whoops. This in there. How can I do that better? I want to make this sky area lighter. But my white is just too soft. That's not gonna do it. How about you, buddy? Are you? No. And see, this is another reason to do swatches. I haven't even used that this much, and it's, I can't see anything on it. This is silver gray. This might be just what I need. I'll take some of that paper off of there. I don't think it's soft enough. Do I have something in my... No. I think my only option is to yeah, I'm just gonna have to do that. I may not leave it white, but if I go over it with another color, it'll make it lighter. And it will help bring out the landscape objects out here. And then maybe I can go over it with that silver gray and blend it with this white. And smooth this out a little too. I need to work on this area a little more. Yeah, see now that's just gonna smooth that out. Woo. That's okay. We need a little foliage there, didn't we? I'm primarily using this silver gray that's in my hand just to kind of smooth out some of the roughness of that white that I just put down, because it's so soft. The white, that is. And this helps to just kind of make it not quite so as important in the composition. It knocks it back just a little bit too. So it's not so stark white. I like that area change right there. I know my voice gets kind of monotone when I'm working, but it's a little like walking and chewing gum. It's almost meditative to do this. It's like I'm using a different part of my brain, and if I stop to talk about something, it's almost like a glitch. Wow, that still had paint showing through there. See, and that was the lavender right off the stick. And to me, it's much more interesting with this mixed in with it. I still have trouble with this area, for sure. I need something with a darker, how dark are you? Not like a phthalo blue, but what's a dark hue? Maybe I do want to use a phthalo. There we go. And then some of that mixed in with that purple and Now my reference image, this is not that big, but I'm going to leave it just like that because to me it's working. And glitch. And this is more, remember, more of a color study than it is for anything exact. It's a yellow ochre. Where'd you go? Pastels are getting all mixed up here. I was looking for a yellow ochre, wasn't I? There's one. Ish. Ooh. I don't like how that oil pastel's reacting there. I'm looking for a yellow ochre in the higher pastels. See, that goes on much better. And that's nothing against the Mungio, it's just the way I've got things laid down. The layers of them are building up and they don't necessarily want to lay down on top of each other. I don't like how this rock looks. This right here. It's just and that's not for texture. I'm wiping it out so I can put something on top of it that's going to make a little more sense than what I've got. Even doing that though is making it look better. Just wiping it out and having what was there. I could use a palette knife or something at this point too, but I like this scratchy tool. That's not its technical term. It's just what I call it. This is just that silver gray, and it's just mixing the pastels that are still there. It's not really adding silver gray to it. There, it's adding some silver gray. It needs to be lighter. And remember, I'm trying to go more for a Sandzen color than necessarily what is there. I think that made it too light because now it looks like it's sky. We don't want that. That's better. It's not perfect, but it's better. I'm just seeing that there's not a definitive edge on here, and there is on the, I think that's what's throwing me off. And there's green down here. I'm gonna make it a little lighter in here, just to differentiate between the lighter areas of the rock and the sky. And this is just a kind of like a light, what is it? I think it says ice blue. And I'm just barely adding any, scraping it a little bit instead of applying. I keep reminding myself this is just a color study. It's not necessary to have everything, but it's so hard not to get in there and just tweak things a little. And that blue underpainting on here, right there, I think looks really interesting. Let's see that. Anywhere that your pastel just gets too thick, just go in there and scrape it off and apply the color that you want. And remember that value does all the work. I'm looking in the viewfinder for fresh image. As far as a color study, I think I'm done with that. Anything beyond this point is just tweaking. And the pastel is getting really thick. I like it thick. But I also need to remember my goal. On this tree trunk, there's some greenery that goes across. In here there's a tree limb right here coming out of that rock. I need something, I think I need something darker on that rock to give it some, contrast. Like on there, that's not gonna do it. I'm looking. What's gonna work? Let's just try a brown. Just a plain old brown. This is like really rough shell, or like sandstone or gravel here. So I think I'm going to knock back some of this before I stop. This video is already going to be about 2 hours long. I think this is too wide in there. Let's make that rock a little bigger so the shadow's more. Okay, I'm going to stop because I think anything beyond this point is going to be more than what I need for what I'm working on. She says as she keeps working on it. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. Maybe. I really lost the tree in here. Can't tell what is the tree and what is sky. But I'm gonna leave that kind of ambiguous. That helped. Okay. Let's take this tape off and see what we've got. That always helps with a fresh perspective. Gets rid of all this messy stuff. This painter's tape, and it's Scotch brand. It's not like an off brand, but it still tends to take off some of the paper. And I know I could heat it up with a heat gun or a hair dryer. I don't know what I think. Does that looks very planned, doesn't it? This whole area. doesn't look. Maybe I'm just overworking it. I need to leave it alone. Because that sure didn't help. I keep thinking one more little thing will help it. You're not going to lay down there, are you? Dad nabbit. Why aren't you? Oh well. Let it go. Let it go. I am not. Because I've got to get that one more little mark that's going to make it better. This one is nice and soft. The pastel, that is. Maybe I need to spray it with some workable fixative and then go over it, but I'm not going to because it's a color study, right? It's not supposed to be. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there. It's got some issues, but for what I needed, because I needed to know, I've got pastel in my hand, shocking, I know. I needed to know some of these different colors as far as like the shadows. Now he would have these leaves as like shapes, as far as like individual shapes with like highlights and not so sketchy. I forgot all about this tree limb down here. See, I like that color that shows through right there. Okay, I'm gonna quit. Okay, that's my color study in oil pastel. So I'm gonna call that it. Oop, light shining through the window there, isn't it? Let me give you a closer up of it. Without the, see if we can do it without the sunlight coming through. I went and I put everything up, washed my hands, and now I'm looking at this, and this, sorry, it's got the wax paper still on it. This in here, these shadows are too dark. I think they, see how this has like a light blue showing through, and it's not as stark. I think I need to do that throughout. It's just, it's too much. It's too stark dark, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna soften up that a little bit. I just thought I'd include you in on that so I didn't mislead you on the video. Let me zoom in here and see if I can, because for one thing, if the air is moving at all, these shadows are not going to be so clear cut. There's going to be a little movement to them. At least that's what I'm telling myself. I mean, I put up everything. Everything's prepared for my next piece, whatever it may be. I think that actually looks better that way. With a little more softness in there. There's the possibility of light dappling through there. Does that make sense? Oops, I just took some. Well, no, maybe that works. I just wanted to soften that up on camera. I also defined this tree a little bit more with some white. I don't know. What do you think? Did it look better before? I think I like it better after. Sorry, for the rustling, it's the wax paper up there. I put wax paper over it before I closed the notebook, sketchbook. To help protect it. There we go. Maybe that's it. Is that better? You think? I think so. Now I may, oh, that's not soft enough. One thing with the Haya is it's a lot softer, and then trying to put the Munchio Gallery on top of it is tough. I wonder if I got my Cinele out. There we go. A yellow, or is a yellow. Make a few of them a more definitive, more defined. Just adding some of this yellow ochre from the Sennelier to kind of I think that helps. might help if I remove some of this too here and there. I'll quit messing with it. Anyway, if you're somebody that kind of picks at their work, just know you're not alone. It's hard to just walk away from it and not be sure. I think that helps on that rock. Kind of soften that edge a little bit of that shadow. This in here. Okay. I'm quitting. I'm quitting. I'm quitting. How does that look? Does that look better? Okay. Just making sure I put my pastels in the right box. Okay, now I'm gonna walk away from it. I cut a piece of wax paper that will cover this adequately, and then I put a piece of painter's tape up there, and then I lay that down, and then that way it doesn't get on this page, it doesn't smear it, you know, a little bit of the color will get off on the oil paper or wax paper, but nothing significant. And I can just shut it and come back to it and work it some more, or just leave it alone. Okay, so now I could do the outro. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this useful or entertaining, and I appreciate you watching this. If you already don't subscribe, if you would consider subscribing, that would be wonderful. And I will see you next time. Until then, take care and be safe. Bye-bye.